Beyond words, our souls collide in the rhythm where dreams reside. Beyond words, we touch the sky.
Welcome to the Beyond Words Deep Dive Sessions, an inspiring exploration of the book Beyond Words by Marcia and John.
Ever notice how some folks just seem to make complicated things look easy? Like they're just cruising along while, you're still trying to remember what all the buttons do.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we're diving into today. Is like how understanding where someone is in their learning journey can totally change how our conversations go.
Right.
So get ready for some serious aha moments as we unlock the secrets to having more impactful dialogue.
Yeah, what's so fascinating about this is we often underestimate how much we actually know until we really think about it. And it's this thing called unconscious competence, and it plays a huge role in how we communicate.
Okay, so let's unpack that a little bit.
Yeah.
Unconscious competence basically means you're good at something without even realizing it.
Precisely. Think of it like this. You're driving somewhere familiar, and then suddenly you realize you haven't even been paying close attention.
Right.
You're on autopilot, basically unconsciously competent at driving.
Yeah.
Now imagine trying to teach someone to drive in that same scenario.
Right.
They're overanalyzing every turn, and you're tempted to say, just do it, you'll get it.
Yeah, just turn the wheel.
Exactly. But their experience is totally different because they're not unconsciously competent yet.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So then how does this whole idea play out in our everyday conversations?
Well, imagine, for example, you're explaining some complex concept to a colleague.
Right.
And you're assuming they're a total novice. So you start with the basics, and then they interrupt with all these insights, things that maybe even you hadn't considered. And it's because they might already be unconsciously competent in that area. Your approach completely missed the mark.
Yeah, I've totally been there. Like when you're
Yeah.
trying to teach someone how to make your favorite drink and they're already like a master mixologist.
Exactly. And then on the flip side, you might dive into a topic with someone and they just go quiet, look confused, or even try to change the subject.
Right.
Those are cues that they might be completely new to this whole thing.
Oh, totally. So it's like we're all walking around with this hidden knowledge and it's kind of messing with our conversations in ways we don't even realize.
Absolutely. But here's the good news.
Okay.
Once you understand this concept, you can start to look for those cues. The boredom, the eagerness to contribute, those subtle signs of confusion.
Which kind of brings us to the million-dollar question. How do we actually navigate this whole conversational minefield? Because let's be real, like after you share an idea, haven't we all had that moment of did that land?
It's the universal question, right?
Yeah.
And thankfully, we don't have to just hope for the best.
Okay.
Because what we're going to talk about today, what this whole conversation is about, is giving you some tools, some tactical tools that you can use to make sure that your message is really resonating.
Okay. I am all ears. Give me the tools.
Yeah.
So we've all been there, right? Like you share an idea, you tell a story, and you just kind of wonder, did that even land? Like, did they really get it? Or did it just like sail right over their head?
It's like the age-old communication dilemma, right?
Yeah.
But instead of just hoping for the best, how about we equip you with some tactical questions that you can use?
Ooh, I like tactical. Lay it on me.
So think of these questions as your conversational compass. Okay.
Okay.
First up, we've got a set designed to really uncover that unconscious competence we were talking about.
Right.
Remember, sometimes people are further along than we might realize.
Yeah, totally.
So instead of just diving into a whole explanation, you could start by asking something like, have you ever encountered this concept before?
Well, that's good because then they can say, actually, I'm pretty familiar with this.
Exactly.
And then you can like skip the whole like basic part.
Exactly. Or let's say you've just shared some new information, right?
Right.
Instead of assuming that they understood everything perfectly, you could try something like, if you had to explain this to someone else, like what would be your key takeaways?
Oh, I like that.
Sure.
Because it's not confrontational, but it makes them actually like process the information.
Exactly.
And like say it back in their own words.
Now, the second set of questions, this is all about gauging importance and relevance.
Okay.
Because even if someone understands what you're saying, it doesn't mean that they find it valuable or applicable to their own life.
Yeah, just because I think something's fascinating doesn't mean they do.
Right.
So how do we avoid that whole disconnect?
Ask questions that connect your message to their world.
Yep.
For example, after you share an idea, you could ask, how do you see this concept applying to your current work?
Oh, okay.
Or does this resonate with any challenges that you're facing right now?
I see. So we're taking it out of the theoretical and making it like actually relevant
Exact.
to their lives.
And here's a pro tip.
Okay.
One of the most powerful questions in this set is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied are you with your current approach to insert relevant topic?
Okay, so they give you a number. Let's say they say a 7. What happens then?
This is where it gets really interesting. You follow up with, what would it take to move you from a 7 to, let's say, like a 7.5?
Oh, that little nudge.
That slight nudge is magic.
I could see that.
Because you're not trying to force a 10 out of them.
Right.
You're basically understanding their perspective and then saying, okay, what are those incremental improvements?
Yeah, I like that.
You're inviting them to articulate their ideal outcome without directly challenging their current methods.
Right.
And that subtle shift can open up a world of dialogue and collaboration. But sometimes you'll encounter situations where someone is perfectly content with their current approach. They've got their system, they're not looking to change.
Right.
This is where understanding their perspective becomes even more crucial.
So how do we navigate those conversations? How do we bridge the gap without being like pushy, but also not being dismissive?
The key is to approach it with genuine curiosity and respect.
Okay.
And speaking of navigating those potentially tricky conversations, let's dive into a real-life example.
Okay.
Our conversation today features a scenario with 2 people, Mia and Lucas, who are discussing project management software.
Okay, so let's talk about Mia Lucas. Let's say you're Mia and you're like super excited about this new project management software. You just know it's going to be a game changer. But Lucas seems totally fine with like his current setup.
Yeah, this is where those tactical questions we were talking about before, they become a lifesaver.
Okay.
Because instead of just launching into like a whole sales pitch,
Right.
Mia starts by acknowledging what Lucas is already using.
Okay.
She might say something like, I understand you're already using competitor software.
Yeah.
What aspects of their platform are working well for your team?
Okay, so she's not like dismissing his experience or saying what he's doing is wrong at all.
Not at all.
It's like, hey, I see you. I respect you. Tell me about it.
Exactly. And by asking what's working well,
Right.
she's also uncovering what Lucas's values are, what his priorities are. And this is going to allow her to tailor her approach later on to highlight the ways that her software aligns with what he already values.
Gotcha. Okay. But then she takes it a step further with that whole like point question.
Yeah.
Which I love. How's that work again?
So let's say in this scenario, Lucas describes his satisfaction with his current software, let's just say at a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Mia can then come back with that question. What would it take to move you from a 7 to, let's say, like a 7.5?
Okay.
And this tiny little nudge, it's so powerful.
It is.
Because you're not forcing him to defend his current choice.
Right.
And you're not making him immediately embrace a whole new solution.
Right. It's very gentle.
Just a bit as a gentle nudge.
It's like, I'm just curious, like what would make it a tiny bit better?
Exactly. Yeah. And so by inviting him to articulate like what his ideal outcome would be, even in a small way,
Right.
she can open the door to then showcase how her software can help bridge that gap.
So it's really amazing how like a simple question can shift that dynamic from like, I'm selling you something to let's have a conversation.
Exactly.
That's really cool.
And that's the beauty of these tactical questions, right?
Yeah.
They empower us to have more meaningful, more impactful conversations in all areas of our lives. It's not about manipulation. It's not about forcing our ideas on other people. It's about understanding, connecting, and trying to find those win-win solutions.
This has been so eye-opening. Like I feel like I have a whole new toolkit now for navigating those tricky conversations and really connecting with people.
That's what we like to hear. Remember, effective communication, it's not about being the loudest voice in the room. It's about being the most perceptive listener.
So true. Well, on that note, we're going to wrap up this deep dive into mastering conversations using the learning cycle.
Right.
We explored the idea of unconscious competence.
Yes.
We unpacked 2 really powerful sets of questions.
We did.
And we even like dissected a real-life scenario to see these techniques in action.
Absolutely.
And remember, these insights aren't just for business meetings. They're not just for networking events. This is for every interaction that you have.
Yeah.
So the next time you're having a conversation, pay attention to those cues, ask those thoughtful questions, and just watch as your communication goes from transactional to impactful.
I love it.
Until next time, happy conversing, everybody.
Thank you for listening. Give us a like and share your comments. Order the book via the link in the comments. Stay tuned for more.
Beyond words, our souls collide in the moment.